All right, when it comes to using this Nautilus Nitro compound row, there's not a lot of setup of the machine. The only setup you have to do is make sure the weight is where we need it. If you're up above 80 pounds on the weight stack, you'll want to take one of these 5-pound counterweights and put it right on this middle bar. Now, if you're up above 140 pounds, you're up in the 140 plus range, so including 140, you'll take this other 5-pound counterweight and add that to, so you have 2 extra 5-pound counterweights on this bar. If you use those, whenever you get done with the machine and you're not going to use it anymore, make sure you take them off for the next person because they may be using 35, 50 pounds, and if they pull on the machine with the counterweights on it, it'll actually clang down and the weights might fall off and hurt them. So I'm going to use an example here where I wouldn't be using the counterweights. Then you'll unrack the handles here. When it comes to getting set up on the machine, you just want to kind of indiscriminately get up into this place. We don't want to be all set into place and put a lot of pressure on your back to pull the weights up. You just kind of pull the handles off, maybe get 1 foot on so you can kind of push yourself back into the spot where we have a slight knee bend, not kind of femurs parallel, maybe a little bit with the ground, maybe a little bit inclined so you can get good firm push with your feet. Then you're getting your chest up high. Now your initiation is by engaging the muscles between your shoulder blades and engaging your lats on your back, kind of in this area back here. And then your intention is to pull your chest forwards, almost imagining there's a pad attached right here on your chest, and you're trying to pull your chest forwards into it. You won't actually travel forwards that much, but it's just to ensure that you're not leaning back a bunch in order to move the weight. So we get set up on the machine, we initiate with our shoulder blades, kind of pulling backwards and engaging through your lats. My intention is to pull my chest forward as my arms come back. I'm focusing on the contraction between my shoulder blades and of my lats, which is usually easiest to find back here. Then we're focusing on keeping those contracting as you allow the weight to move forward. My shoulders will round forwards a little bit. Then I initiate again, shoulder blades back, pulling back with my lats, using that nice slow red light, green light tempo. And then the range of motion here, we don't want to come so far back that we have to lean back in order to move the weight forward or further, keeping in mind that idea of pulling your chest forward into a pad that is not there. And we don't want to go so far forward that we feel our spine collapsing. So our spine stays in the same place and the shoulders can come forwards and backwards, but just not letting the spine round out. You're keeping yourself up nice and tall. And then as you get to the back end, what most often happens to get more range of motion, aside from leaning back, is if you watch my wrist, people will do this with their wrist to try and curl it back, which is not what we want to do. Everything kind of folds in a straight line. We've got everything coming together. If you notice that you're doing this with your shoulder, kind of pulling your hand inwards and your elbow out, or you're curling your wrist, that means you're trying to get too much range of motion. So this is what a good high quality rep would look like. Up nice and tall, shoulder blades, arms, pulling my chest forward, squeezing into the back, and then slowly traveling back forwards, keeping that engagement, as opposed to what a poor rep would look like, which could be anything like, there's a lot of different options, but here's an example, is either like this, like a rowing machine versus a row, or as I get to the back, I kind of wing my elbows out and pull in with my wrists here. That's something we definitely don't want to do. Another thing to keep in mind is that you don't want your hands to come down like this. I doubt you'll end up doing that, but we want to make sure that we're kind of lining up. If there was a line between my pointer finger straight back, it would be about 1/3 of the way between my elbow and my shoulder. 1/3 to 1/2 is okay to kind of ballpark it. We just don't want to be way up here or way down here. Usually a good measure is you can tell you're in the right spot if these cables stay horizontal the entire time. So one more time, I'll show you a good quality rep, which would look like up tall, initiate, I'm set up correctly, initiate shoulder blades, lats, focusing on contraction the whole way back, that proper tempo, not forcing too much range of motion, pulling out of the parking space, contracting those muscles again, all the way forward until my shoulders round a little bit, but my spine stays tall, and then repeat. Versus anything like this, or like this, or down here, or way up here, or anything that involves this kind of tempo. There's a couple of tips for you on this Nautilus Nitro compound row.